Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another video. Today we're doing the Project Share project blog hop. We've got a theme of 3D projects today. So that's myself, Heather, Vicky and Jane are all participating. So there'll be a link in the description of this video to click on that will take you to my blog, and then you'll be able to see everybody else's projects that they've made today. So 3D projects aren't my forte, but we've got there in the end, and we've made several mistakes already trying to get this done. But we're going to try again. We're going to be using some retiring in colour products, some designer series paper, and the Tag of Thanks stamp set. This is one of the newer ones that we've got in the online exclusives, and some punches as well just to embellish that. So this is the Country Lace DSP that I'm going to use today, just to use that up, and this is Boho Blue ribbon and cardstock. So this is one of the retiring in colours, and this opens up to hold in this case I've got some tea bags that fit in, 2 fit in each side of this, but that could easily be like one of those little skinny biscuits or something like that, or split it across the 2 like that, as a cute little gift. Okay, so that's what we're gonna aim to make. So sticking with the retiring in colour theme, I'm going to bring in some this is Pebbled Path. I'm just reaching and getting my score, Simply Scored. The cardstock measures 4 by 8 inches. Okay, and we're going to score on the short side first of all at 1 inch and 1 1/4. Now you'll notice there are already score lines on here because I needed to make sure this was right. Okay, we're now going to flip it over to the long side and score at 1/4 and a half, then at 3 3/4, 4 1/4, 7 1/2, and 7 3/4, or if you prefer, flip it round and do those 2 at that end as well. Okay, so that's what we end up with, and that larger panel there should be the right size for our tea bag to fit in. Okay, if you do it sideways, by the way, I've positioned it so that it fits this way, which means you can actually get 2 out of a piece of A4 cardstock because it's only 4 inches, so you could get 2 and have a nice chunk at the end left over for other projects. Okay, so if you want to give yourself more wriggle room and make something deeper, you can, but I was thinking, you know, to be frugal and get more than 1 out of each of those. Okay, so we need to just we need to score and burnish all these score lines. Okay, these ones are a little bit fiddly, but if you use your finger and sort of roll it over your finger, you should be able to get that to do what it needs to do. Okay, same at this end. So just make sure those are nice and sharp creases. Let me just do this one at the bottom. And again, we've got one of those little skinny ones, so just start it off using your fingers just to make sure it creases the right way. Sometimes the grain of the cardstock can make it want to pull in a different direction. Okay, so now that we've got all that scored, we need to make our cuts in here. Now I find it's easier to try and visualize these sort of bumps up here, so I always have it this way round when I'm trying to do this. So this middle section here up to the second score line needs to come away in its entirety. So we'll just take that away. So, and then here we just need little flaps just to wrap round the bottom section, so we can cut off this section here. And the same on the other side. So very, very simple this is, she says, having tried to make this 3 times. Okay, and then just take that away. Just go in the scrap box or scrap bin. Okay, so we now should have flaps that come over. These can wrap round to box that in. We've got a free edge here. Okay, and then hopefully I've scored it right and it folds over. Yay! Okay. Oh dearie me. Okay, so we've got there. Right. So what we also need is designer series paper. Now I've had to finagle the measurements a little bit, but I think we're there. Yes, this fits. Right, okay. This fits and this fits. So measurements for your designer series paper then are 2 1/4 by 3 1/8 roughly. Okay, and then obviously that's just a little bit skinnier, so that'll be they'll all be the same height. Okay, but this one's only going to be like 3/4 of an inch. No, not 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, sorry, 3/8 of an inch. That's what that's going to be. Okay, because it's only super skinny. And so you could put some on here as well, if you wanted to, or stamp on it even. We could do that. But I'm just gonna keep the project quite simple today, only because it's made my brain hurt way too much already. Okay, but before we stick it on, we're going to lay some ribbon over it. So this is the lovely coordinating in colour ribbon. So I've probably got about 2 foot of it really here, because you need plenty to be able to secure it down, plus room to tie the bow. Now no one's going to see what's underneath here, so I'm just going to use some tape to secure this. I'm going to get covered over with the designer series paper, so no one's going to know. And if it's straight, it's even better. Okay, and then we can just put our paper over the top. Okay, now I always just use seal for this. It's a skinny piece, so it's going over the edge a little bit, but if you just sort of wipe it over, it's going to be fine. So we'll just position that on there. And give it a really good burnish around that ribbon. There will be it will bulge a little bit. It's quite a thick ribbon, but it's it'll be fine. I'm going to put plenty of tape, kind of top and bottom if you like as well, just to make sure that it sort of sticks to that cardstock. I'll have a tough time really sticking to that ribbon, but if it's well adhered onto the card stock on this portion and this portion here, it'd be good. And the tape's going to keep that nice and secure underneath there, but you'll never know is there. Okay, same with this one. So more than I would normally use ordinarily, but you know, we want this to survive at least long enough for the recipient to enjoy the contents. So try and get that lined up like so. Okay, the little flaps though, because they're so teeny tiny, the seal's going to be too much for that, so we're going to have to use either some really skinny double-sided tape or the or some wet glue. Now I've got a little bit of this narrow tape here, so I'm going to use this. So you use what you have. Oops, sorry, I just hit you. I'm so sorry. So use what you have, but I'm just going to use some of this. So it's nice and strong and it will stick without having to worry about holding it down. Okay, peel off those. And it's still a little bit wider than it needs to be, but it's all going to gosh, I was thinking, where's that going to stick to? What a wally. So just line that up along that edge as best you can. I'm sure those of you who make 3D projects can make that look a little neater than I have. Okay, it's not cool. Oh yeah, it'll do. Okay. So there we go. That's the pretty much the nuts and bolts of the project then. Okay, and we can put our little tea bags in there, or whatever it's going to be. Okay, so that's fine. Obviously it's a bit loose because it isn't full, but obviously the ribbon can help you secure that. Okay, so we'll just tie that up for now as it is. And you want to cut the ribbon long deliberately, because you want to give yourself enough to tie it, and obviously you can snip that down if you want to. Okay, and then decoration wise, we're going to use a whole heap of punches. Okay, so we need some scrap of the pebbled path. Going to need some basic white. Here's a scrap of basic white, let's use that. Just grabbing that from the scrap bin over there. So those are basic white bits with the heartfelt hexagon. I love that punch. Then we've got the 2-inch punch. This is in the online store. Okay, links to everything are going to be in the description. Okay, and then we've got the 1 3/4-inch punch, which is also an online only product. Oops. Which we will cut our sentiment from. Now, is this scrap going to be big enough? Ooh, just about. Look at that. There we go. Alright, so that's pretty much done now. That's brilliant. I like to get as much as I can out of all my little bits of cardstock. I've got loads of little strips that I've collected, shall we say, from when I cut down my card blanks and stuff. Ooh, that's very juicy ink pad. So let's get some scrap. Just make sure that's not over inked. Just be gentle with that. You don't want any air bubbles on it though. So if you've got any air bubbles, just make sure they've popped. The rest should be fine. Okay, it's a really beautiful colour, Pebble Path. Really beautiful. Really good neutral colour. It's one I'd like to see come back at some point. That and Wild Wheat, they're really nice colours. Really nice colours. Okay, so that's Pebble Path, and we can just layer this together now. Oops. Stampin' Seal. So layer those circles together, which will give you a nice border, and that pop of the Pebble Path coming through into the front of the project. And then likewise we can pop, and that will help it pop from here. Just gives it a nice sort of angular shape, and I reckon you could get away with this for a guy as well. Okay, and then just for a bit of extra something, I'm going to pop this up onto, using some dimensionals. I need a new sheet. I'll use these little ones, that'll do. So just a couple of these. To secure that. Could have done the ribbon along the outside, and this could have gone over the top, but I wanted to sort of conceal that. And because you've got that sort of bump there where that ribbon is, again it sort of acts to sort of distract you from the fact that there might be a little bit of an uneven surface there. And then I'm just going to add some basic rhinestones to this. There's loads of the little ones, so we'll just put a few of these little ones on. Oops, if they want to play, that is. Just to make sure, just in that lovely little trio that oh, that one's gone. Where's it gone? Oh, I tell you, it's been a right game trying to get this project done, I tell you. Now my rhinestones don't want to behave. Right. And, oh. There we go. Phew. I'm done. Oh dearie me. Okay. So obviously those tails can be cut down now. Just a little bit longer than they need to be, really. So just chop off a little bit of that just to make that tidier. So this was the original with the boho blue and the misty moonlight sheets of paper, okay, and a couple of sequins, okay. And this is the grey granite one with that other set of ribbon. So there we go, lovely little quick idea for gift giving for you. I hope you've haven't found that too painful to watch. So it's not my wheelhouse, 3D projects, okay. But thanks for watching anyway. Do click into the description, hop over to my blog, and then you can see everybody else's projects. I'm sure there'll be some fantastic ideas in there. And then obviously everything I've used is linked in there as well. The retiring colours, be quick because they will start to sell out as well, because people will want to stock up on those. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Stay safe, take care, see you again soon. Bye.